And
nope. I was a Bitcoin maximalist at the time because I literally, I didn't even know that other coins really existed because I would read Reddit all the time, and the Bitcoin subreddit is so well moderated. Any mention of any other currency whatsoever is instantly deleted. So because I only used Reddit as my news source, I didn't even know that there were good other currencies being created. I didn't even know. I was starved of that information. And then the reason that I came out public was because Ethereum's market cap was starting to surpass Bitcoin's market cap. And I had a big bag of Bitcoin, didn't have any Ethereum. So I had to start coming out and saying bad things about Ethereum because it was a very easy target at the time to protect my bag. So the only reason I came out in 2017 publicly is because my Bitcoin bag was being threatened by Ethereum. And now I've switched. Like Ethereum just continued to kick ass and Bitcoin stagnated, and now Ethereum is like vastly better. So it's funny how you have to update your worldview. So, you know, there used to be a time when it was very easy to make fun of Ethereum for certain things, and now it's not. Like now it's awesome. So but people get stuck. They don't update their worldview when new information appears, and that's how you get wrong. Like Michael Jackson, right? Did people love him? Yes. Is he dead as hell? Yes. Why? Because he couldn't take good advice. You know, people are like, hey, stop trying to sleep with propanol and whatever. Stop doing that stupid crap. People can't take good advice, so they just end up with bad results. Me, I always stay learning. I always learn the new thing or even build the new thing. So,
yeah, we tend to want to protect our own ideas, and we don't want to admit that we're maybe wrong, or we maybe have to update.
If you switch to the right side, you can protect your idea. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
there's no pride in staying wrong. It's just stupid.
Yeah. So when did you find out about Ethereum and other coins?
I don't actually remember the date. Like, yeah, I don't remember the exact time. Okay. It's a good question.
And how did you figure out that Ethereum, in your opinion, is better than Bitcoin?
Well, you know, I was really upset in 2017 that people were getting so rich on things that were stupid. Now, eventually they all went to zero. So I was right. But before I was right, a lot of people made hundreds of millions of dollars on retarded, stupid, terrible things. It made me very upset. So I basically, it may have been that was the reason that I learned about the technology, the Ethereum technology. And then, it's like, there's a saying that the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, which means that if you open a short position on things that suck, you will get liquidated. And then eventually the market will go your way. But you can't withstand the amount of stupid the market can be. So even though like 99% of ICOs went to zero, if you tried to short them, if there was a market to short them and you tried to, you would have lost all your money because they went up, you know, insane levels beforehand. It's easier for scams to actually go up in price because there's no metric by which you can say, okay, it's actually bad. So if a fake bullshit scam project launches, how do you measure product market fit? Well, you don't, because there's no product market fit because the product doesn't exist yet. It's not like if you have a real product with real customers and you see the numbers going down, your brain's like, okay, that's worth less than it was yesterday because I have less customers. But if people start throwing money into something that doesn't have any customers at all, well, then it can never be less, right? So there's a funny skit on this show called Silicon Valley where, you know, the guy's talking about how they're going to fund their servers by, you know, onboarding new users. And the guy that invested is like, users? No, hold on. We don't want users. Never. We're always going to be pre-launch. Because if you're pre-launch, the sky's the limit. But if you start getting real users, it's never enough. There's no number of real users that would ever satisfy. And then you're like, that's actually how it works. Crazy that. So
you can't get measured.
Yeah, people don't understand how markets really work. So when people buy the S&P 500, they don't even fucking know what's in there. They don't know what the 500 things are. They don't give a shit. If people buy Coca-Cola stock, do you think that they're like experts on sugary beverages and they could tell you the like chemical differences between Coca and Pepsi? They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They just want to make money. And it is that way in everything. People buy Apple stock, they buy the S&P 500, they buy the NASDAQ index. They buy all these things because they want to make more money. That's fine. That's good. That's fine. Okay, we live in a world where the banks are stealing our money with inflation constantly, and especially in Germany because you guys love actual cash. And what happens when you're sitting on actual cash? Or I think you guys may even have negative interest rates in some places.
If you deposit more than 100 grand, then you're getting into negative interest territory.
Dude, I mean, what could be stupider? They're literally, oh, you saved your money? Yeah, we're just going to rob you. It used to be if you saved your money, you would get a return. So now that we live in that free helicopter money bullshit world where savers are being robbed every day, they look for alternatives. And a lot of the alternatives they turn to are misinvestment and malinvestment, which is why you have a boom and bust bubble cycle, why everything keeps getting more expensive forever. If you're a kid and you graduate high school now, how the hell are you ever going to own a house? I mean, they just get more like, I mean, in Berlin, you have some cheap property, but in a lot of other countries in Europe, man, you can't buy anything. It's just too expensive. And you, even if you save like 20 grand a year, after 20 years, you still can't buy anything. You're like, well, so at what point can any normal human ever actually own anything ever again? And then the banks own everything. And that gets bad enough that you end up with a revolution at some point. So you better hope that the air conditioning and the pizza delivery and the cable boxes keep working, because it's the only thing preventing revolution pretty much. Like
in Berlin, they actually put caps on rent, so that it's really turning into.
It's not that good of an idea, truthfully.
Not that good of an idea. It's turning into kind of a socialist place, to be honest. And the people who actually can afford to have houses, or foreign people who come in,
right.
They buy a property. They're like 10, 20 people. They're buying one property, and then they're actually building the house with their own hands. So they're not paying these expensive prices because they're actually producing the house they live in themselves.
Well, that sounds kind of cool, actually. I like that part. I mean, your culture will be replaced. Sorry for you, but at least there'll be cool houses.
Yeah, Angela Merkel is really.
It's like visiting Vancouver. It's just different, man. It's China, but in Canada. You're like, all right.
I've been there
10
years ago, yeah. So before we dive into Hex coin now,
sure.
Do you think
it's not coin? I don't want you to slap the coin on there.
Sorry, Hex.
Yeah, it's okay.
Hex.
I work really hard for brand and branding and imagery, and it's just Hex.
So it's Hex with nothing else?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's only Hex?
Yeah. It's like if you want to make a photocopy of something,
you
Xerox it. Okay. Now that ended up being bad for them because they lost their trademark protection because the word that they used became a commodity, but it was used as a verb. So, it's unlikely that Hex will turn into a verb and lose its trademark protection. So I prefer it's just called Hex. Like Bitcoin itself is actually a very shitty brand name, a compound, generic. So people, I'll give you guys, since people watching are business people and I am a fucking wonderful business person, I will give you some branding tips. One, compliment yourself. Trump is president. Look how that worked out. So complimenting yourself is okay these days. Maybe one day it'll be penalized, but until then, being a cocky person appears to work just fine. So I'm cool with that. And I'm a fat American, loud, cocky. It's what we're known for. The stereotypes are true. So what are the most valuable companies in the world? Apple. Okay. Does Apple sell fruit? Do they sell oranges? Do they sell apples? No, they do not. Google. What's a Google? Oh, and they even changed their name to Alphabet. Do they sell like alphabet soup? Do they sell like kids learning? No, they don't do those things. Okay, what are some other popular companies? Yahoo. Okay, what's a Yahoo? Okay, what are some other profitable companies, right?
Tesla?
Amazon. Are they like in South America? Like where? No. Okay, so what are we learning here? What are we learning? We're learning that if you want to have a successful brand, your name better make no sense. Why? because it's high risk, high reward. In the beginning, people are going to be like, that name don't make any sense. But if you stick around for a while, you carve out a new space in everyone's minds that only you fill, and they don't confuse you with anyone else. That's very important. So being called Hex is much better than being called Hex Coin. Because I mean, oh, coin, I know other coins, and those coins suck. Okay, well, I'm not interested in that. We're different. We're better. I don't want coin in there. You also can't misspell it. So some people say Bitcoin. It's weird. I have no idea why, but they do. You know, some say, like, in the coin business, you've got Bitcoin, Bytecoin, like every permutation of the word coin and something else. And it's the absolute worst thing you can do for branding, is that everyone's names are so similar that you can't even tell what anyone's talking about. So block and bit and coin and byte and chain, mix those up and just throw in a random noun like stone or rock chain or rock block or whatever. And then it's just a mass of crap. That's all garbage. It's horrible branding. Hex is fantastic branding. So when you look at our logo in a line of all the other logos, ours stands out. Why? We've got maximum contrast. These are diametrically opposed colors. We've got a gradient, which is hard to print. So if you want to print this, you have to print it on vinyl, or else you don't get this magenta. If you do direct to garment, this turns purple here, not magenta. So what else do we do? This is easy enough where you could stencil it and graffiti it if you wanted to, because it's a simple geometric shape. It actually, so I designed the logo, right? We show geometric growth where you go from a little to a lot up in this direction, just like on a price chart. So we have the best logo. We have the best name. You can't misspell it. It's also the most futuristic imagery. If you watch any movie in the future, you'll see hexagons as the primary theme to indicate future and modern and